Big round of applause for our next storyteller, for Stephanie Lechner. Come on, let Stephanie Lechner hear it. Hello.
I grew up in Indiana, and when I was a kid, I had one big dream in my life, and that was to live in New York City. And 2 years after college, I'm standing at the corner of Park Avenue with all of my belongings stuffed into 2 suitcases, staring up at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, where I would now be working. I got hired by a spa company that purchased the entire 19th floor of the Waldorf. They spent nearly $20 million renovating it from floor to ceiling with white marble. In the lobby was a waterfall full of cascading Swarovski crystals. It was their flagship location, and it was the epitome of luxury. It's probably a good time to tell you that this was in Manhattan in 2008. For those of you that missed the heavy foreshadowing there, that was the great financial crisis. It was the perfect time to start charging $600 for a facial. But, not everything was rosy in my life in New York, but I loved it so much. Every morning I'd hop on the 7 train from Queens to Midtown. I'd get the most delicious bagel. I'd change into my uniform, just fully excited to live my dream. And then, the cracks started to show. Living in Manhattan in 2008 was kind of like living in a literal fire sale. It was like a race to the bottom, and as the hotel prices got lower and lower, my bosses refused to change the menu. If you build it, the rich will come, was very much the mantra. And I was really optimistic that things were gonna turn around and business was gonna pick up. And then the first week I had my paycheck bounced. And I was like, that's weird. My CEO comes in and he's like, guys, don't worry. We just got a new payroll system. We're just transitioning over. Everything will be back to normal next week. I'm so Midwestern, why would he lie? And then it happened the next week, and it happened again. And I was middle-level management, so everyone was coming to me for answers, and I had no answers. I was just as much in the dark as they were. Every week, the CEO would come up with a new reason. Oh, it was just some systems error, it was a bank issue, we got a new account, and we were really hanging in there for a while. And of course, we wanted new jobs, but there were no jobs to have. And so each week I'd say the party line, and I'd tell the therapist what was going on, but you try to tell a part-time massage therapist who's trying to make rent that don't worry, your money will be there Monday. And so things really started to boil up, and every day was survival mode. And one day my esthetician or my nail tech, she comes to me and she's like, hey, we're out of the exfoliant that we use in all of the treatments. And I was like, what? So I go and I look and I scrounge, and she's right, we have none of this product. And I rummage through the petty cash, and I know that we haven't been paying our bills, and the vendors are waiting for us, and there is no money. But I have just enough petty cash to send my receptionist across the street to the drugstore. And I was like, get the cheapest Epsom salt you can find, and I'm gonna squirrel a bunch of free hotel lotion. And so there I am living my dream, squeezing little bottles of hotel lotion together while I mix in the cheapest store brand Epsom salt. I'm not proud of myself, but if anyone asked that day, is this the same exfoliant you use? I was like, oh yes, this is our signature luxurious exfoliant, $75 a bottle. And I went home and I would just cry every night. Every night I would be like, this can't be it. What if I fail? How long can I stay in this state? I have no money, negative money. But I didn't want to give up on my dreams. So I did my best to drum up business and keep everything under wraps. The hotel couldn't know we were going through this crisis. So I would close all the treatment doors, and I would do these large group tours to try to sell them. And I'd be like, guys, be very quiet. We don't want to disrupt the guests. There were no guests. I didn't even have staff that day. And then one day I was like, oh God, I just lived for the day that we had enough appointments to float enough cash. And then the Saudi Arabian royal family came into town, and they booked an extended stay. They had a whole suite just for their luggage. And I was like, okay, we can sell them stuff, guys. We sold them everything. The top shelf facial full of gold flecked orchid lotion, yep, got that. Bottles of perfume, including the decorative ones that just had colored water in it. That hydrotherapy that no one ever wanted, like, yeah, please book that. At one point, I even convinced them to buy the clocks off our walls because I told them it was a limited edition. And so, like, and while this was happening, like, we were like the Hunger Games every Friday when the payroll checks would come because we would fight each other over and we would dash down to the bank because if we got to the bank account first, there would be enough money for you. But if you got there like third or fourth, they would look at you with pity and they'd be like, I'm sorry, there's like no more money. And you have to ask yourself, like, how long can people stay in this state? The answer was a year, like a full year of this cycle of like hand to mouth, like one treatment to just float enough payroll, doing what we could, desperately hanging on to each of those dreams. And then one day I come in and I see my CEO with a bunch of suits. And he's like, hey guys, we have great news. We've been funded. This company has decided to purchase us. Your payrolls are covered. You're in the clear. We're celebrating. I'm so relieved. This was just a test. Like the city threw this at me and I conquered it. I'm gonna be okay. And then my boss pulls me in and he's like, we do have funding, but we've decided to eliminate your position. I was devastated. I was like, this was all for nothing? Like, what was the point of this? 6 months later, my friends that did stay on at the spa showed up one day and the doors were locked. To my knowledge, they did not get that last paycheck. And I started to think now, in hindsight, that this company did me a big favor. I didn't know it at the time, but I was going to have a long career in corporate America where I watched several reorganizations and brutal layoffs. But now I have this sixth sense of like seeing when the winds change, when there's a little crack in that white marble, when I just have that instinct to get the hell out before they can push me out. And so far, it's never happened again.
Come on for Stephanie Lechner.